WLXY.com, Joe here, backstage at Bonnaroo 2007. We're sitting with Wayne Coyne for a minute. Wayne, welcome.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Joe.
Hey, it's great to meet you, and thanks for taking a minute to sit with us. As we were saying, you are a festival veteran.
I am, yeah. Well, you know, we've been in the Flaming Lips for 25 years. Next year will be 25 years, and so, yeah.
So, but this is your first Bonnaroo?
No, we did our first Bonnaroo in 2003.
Awesome.
So it's our second Bonnaroo.
Second Bonnaroo, back at it down here in Manchester, Tennessee.
But you have to know, I mean, you know, back when we started, the very first festival that we ever played in 1986 was a festival in Copenhagen called the Roskilde Festival. And it was the first time I was ever on an airplane, flew from Oklahoma City all the way to, you know, to Norway, you know. And it was, in 1986, what I think, in a sense, what Bonnaroo has become in America now. Even back then, I remember talking with even Thurston Moore from Sonic Youth, and we thought, you know, someday in America, this will be happening in America. Yeah. And it is now. It's great.
Absolutely.
It really is.
We even get the septic smell coming through here every now
and
then.
We really do.
It's just that's the official festival smell.
Wow, that's really
pretty horrible.
Yeah.
But, you know, I wanted to ask you about the last song that I've gotten from you guys was from the Spider-Man 3 soundtrack.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
And first of all, I know, we got the fan helping us out here, right?
No, I don't care. I think smells is a part of the festival that you only get when you're here. I mean, you can see video later and you can hear the music later, but people forget that the sense of smell is really one of your most powerful subjective memory triggers. Yeah.
So with that song, though, the Supreme Being teaches Spider-Man how to be in love.
Right,
Did they ask you to write something Spider-Man related?
No, I mean, that's kind of the fun of being part of little projects like that, is that you get to be in the flavor of what's going on there. I mean, a lot of times bands get attached to these things for better or for worse, and it really is just a song, and your song gets, you know, put in there. Sure. But I really sort of like the idea of it. You have to work with a theme, or you have to work with a sort of stylistic philosophy that's already there. So I'm always looking for that. Doesn't mean they always like what we do, but I like that. I mean, we've done a bunch of stuff for movies and cartoons and things like that. And I think to some artists, they sort of feel like, oh, I'm not interested in sort of living in anybody else's space, anybody else's world. I just want to be, you know, expelling the demons of my own mind. But I think I like doing both. I mean, I really like the idea that someone else can sort of give us a direction to go in, and I think it's wonderful.
And the title itself is great.
Well, I originally called it, in the song I talk about Muhammad Ali, and I originally called it Muhammad Ali versus Spider-Man. Oh. And I believe it was inspired by Daniel Johnson in a way. I forget, we had been listening to a combination of Daniel Johnson and Deerhoof and Igor Stravinsky or something, and we thought, with Daniel Johnson, if he could be on the soundtrack, would probably sing something, you know, like Spider, because he loves superheroes. Yeah. And I don't know if Spider-Man is one of his favorites, but I mean,
it may be. I saw him play about a month ago. It was great.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
But they wouldn't let us use Muhammad Ali's name in the title, and so I just said Supreme Being, and I just thought you can use your own version of that.
Yeah, well, that works, and it's really fun for me to say on the radio.
Well, that
was the Flaming Lips with the Supreme Being teaches Spider-Man how to fall in love.
Joe, I am working for you here.
See, I totally appreciate that.
Of course.
Well, tonight, obviously, you guys are going to go on at midnight. It's going to be a really fun show. Anything special planned for tonight?
Well, I mean, we've brought the giant UFO light show with us.
I heard you were up late putting it together.
Well, I mean, I'm always up late, you know, doing something, you know. But we got in about 1 o'clock. Got all the trucks parked and all that. String Cheese got off stage about 5 o'clock in the morning. Oh, wow. And I have to admit, we're outside of Nashville, Tennessee. And people don't realize that there's there's the East Coast, and then there's Central Time.
That's right.
And we are right on the border. I don't know how this can still be Central Time, because we're so far east. But people don't realize the sun comes up really, really early, and it sets really late.
And it gets real hot.
And so we started, and the sun was just coming up, and that's a beautiful experience. I mean, it's rare that you get to work outside doing something as bizarre as building your own, UFO light show, let alone to be sitting in Bonnaroo. And I have to say, early in the morning is very cool and very nice. Yeah. And then the sun was coming up, and there was probably about 50 or so people wandering around, and I would go up and talk to them and ask them if they were still awake from the previous night or if they were just waking up. And
probably got a lot of different answers.
most of them were still awake from
Yeah.
the night before, because it was just like, you know, quarter to 7 or so in the morning.
Yeah.
But that's already a great experience. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
people forget about these sorts of things. It's not just that you see bands and, oh, what did they play? It's sort of your own thing. Even talking about the toilets and things like that. It's
Yeah, it's its
I mean,
own
all these things. It's an
experience.
adventure. It really is. And an adventure means that it's not just. You're not just walking from one luxury to the next.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, there's a little bit of your own comfort is invaded a bit, which I think makes it all the better.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, does
makes
it change the way you guys play at all? I mean, the festival environment, you're obviously very used to it now.
Yeah, yeah.
You've done it a lot. Is there a certain kind of energy that you just have to
Well,
have?
I think what the audience truly loves is if they know you're in this with them. I think the worst thing that happens sometimes is the audience is getting rained on, or we played the Sasquatch Festival south of Seattle last year, and this insane hailstorm came out of nowhere. I mean, it's a beautiful summer day, but the storm comes, and this hail piled up. It had to pile up for about a foot. But all the kids were there, and there wasn't any shelter. I mean, the kids are all there ready
Yeah,
to see
yeah.
the show, and it's freezing cold for about 2 hours. And I took out one of these giant tarps that we have that was covering up our equipment so they could get under something. And everywhere I go, I'll run into someone who is under one of our blue Flaming Lips tarps, and
Yeah.
they'll say, "Wayne, you were there with us," and that made all
See?
the difference. And it really
And that's
is.
part of the
so-
collective kind of conjoined experience.
It is, and I mean, and luckily, I mean, I want to be part of it anyway, but I can see where if someone sees me walking around today or sees me struggling to get some coffee or to go to one of the porta potties, suddenly we're having the same experience. And
Well,
I think that makes all the
hopefully
difference.
we'll have no hail tonight. Bonnaroo should be hail-free. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes
Yes,
with us,
Joe,
Wayne.
thank you.
Great
You were
to
great.
meet you.
Thank you, yeah.
And I appreciate it. We're backstage at Bonnaroo, 2007.
I'm going to go fix that toilet right over there. I'm going to fix that. Come on.